What's up, Lions? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to break down a very important and interesting topic that I don't see a lot of people talk about. Um, I actually came up with this idea. This idea actually came from a little video that I watched, and the video was about men who seek out escorts. Now, it's by this woman by the name. Her name's Nadia. Um, I know who she is. I've seen her on other people's podcasts. Um, I think she was on. I know she was on just Pearly Things, and she was on some other ones too. But I think Pearly Things is where I've seen her. Anyway, she has a video saying why men love escorts, and really, she only made one good point. The rest of her points was just uh, psycho babble. Unfortunately, a lot of most women when they talk about why men do this or why men do that, it's like the teachers on the Peanuts cartoons, on the Charlie Brown cartoon, just like wonk 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 wonk. They just say a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I was going to do a video on this regardless. This her video, um, it, it it had me speed up my video. I was already going to do a video on this. I was already doing, coming up with my talking points and the different reasons on why men do this. But seeing her video just had me speed it up because she was just saying, you know, a lot of psychobabble because I think she's a psychologist. So you got to understand where people who are psychologists, people who are therapists, where they're coming from. They're leaning on their education, and they all have the same talking points, and they all spew the same thing because they're all taught the same thing. What's very interesting about this space that we sit in, and what's beautiful about the internet, is you have a diverse set of ideals and ideologies, and you get to hear things that you normally would not hear, because if people are going to universities to be psychologists, uh, therapists, they're studying sociology, they're all being taught the same thing. So there's no diversity of thought really. Everyone's coming out cookie cutter with the same education, the same talking points, the same points of views. Whereas in the internet space, you have people that have that university cookie cutter education point of view, and you have people who have real life experience points of views, things that you learn in real life that you're not going to learn in a university, that you're not going to learn in a textbook. And it's these diversity of ideals and ideologies I think that is important, especially when it comes to men, because we don't have a lot of space where we can actually be honest and be ourselves. So anyway, her video just speeded up me doing this video to release it on this channel. So now that we're here, let me play her video, and then I'll break down really um, the reasons behind why men is seeking out escorts. Now, this is not anything new. Escorts and prostitution has been around um, since forever, but the circumstances and the environment that we live in today are very unique. So there's a lot of added layers onto why a lot of men are seeking out escorts today versus personal relationships that we did traditionally. So let me play her little snippet here, and then once that's done, we'll come back and we'll break this topic down bit by bit, and we'll touch on all the points that she didn't even bring up. She had one good point. The rest of it was just wonk 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 wonk. So let's play the video and we'll come back.
Absolutely agree. I feel like in my work, when I've worked with men who have turned to prostitution and who have turned to pornography addiction, a lot of the time, especially when they turn to prostitution or even just a gold digger, they're so hurt when she doesn't like them back. So they're not paying for sex. They're actually paying for intimacy. And I always tell them, you can't buy intimacy. You can't buy it. This girl, you can buy her a bag and you can have sex with her, but you're craving connection. And that is something you can't buy. And the reason they're craving connection is because A, they don't know where to find it. And also they're being told if they do look for connection, they're a simp. That word simp gets thrown around. So we've almost shamed men for wanting and craving connection. And I can say in honesty, the men that cheat, the men that turn to pornography, the men that turn to escorts, I'm very non-judgmental because I understand behind every self-sabotaging behavior, there is a need that has not been met for a really long time. And for that need to be met, they turn to self-destructive behavior as a coping mechanism. So I definitely think that we've got a crisis of men seeking intimacy, but believing that it's wrong. And the culture and the internet is also teaching them that it's wrong. So they're secretly craving it and then secretly finding outsourcing it in the wrong ways.
Simping for women is wanting it.
Okay, so you heard what she had to say. The one point that she did make that is valid is that men today are really suffering from a lack of intimacy, and we can see that in the statistics. A lot of men are not in relationships. A lot of men have not had physical intimacy from women, and that's how intimacy is built. Intimacy is a sharing of one's self and one's most inner secrets. And when I say secrets, I don't mean like, when I was 19 years old, I robbed a gas station. I don't mean those kind of secrets. I mean the things that you have on the inside, things that you share with people that make you vulnerable, things you share with people that have them look at you in a different way, who things you share to have people look at you for who you really are. When you share these things with someone and then they reciprocate, you're able to see each other without the mask. You're able to stand in front of each other bare naked, and you see each other's vulnerabilities, you see each other's flaws. And this comes from interpersonal relationships. And no matter how close a guy is with his guy friends, there's only a certain level of intimacy that can be achieved versus when he has a woman. So because a lot of men today are not in relationships, a lot of men today are struggling with dating. You've seen the video with the Cheesecake Girl. His experience is the average guy's experience. So because a lot of men, this is what they're experiencing, they're not able to achieve intimacy at the level that men were created to achieve intimacy. This is leading some men to seek out escorts. And what they're getting is the sexual gratification, but they're also getting the intimacy on the physical side. They're not getting it, emotionally. They're not getting it psychologically, but they are at least getting it physically. And that is better than nothing. So she is correct about that. She also touched on sexual addiction. Yes, a lot of men that struggle with sexual addiction do turn to escorts. That is a part of their addiction. It feeds their addiction. For that individual, it's less about an intimate connection and it's more about them feeding an addiction. So that point she made was right. The rest of the stuff she said was just stupid and ridiculous. She said they pay for escorts because they don't know where to find intimacy. That they're trying to pay for intimacy and they don't know where to find it. Men know where to find intimacy. Men know that intimacy comes from being in a relationship with a woman. The problem is they can't get into a relationship with a woman. That's the problem. So it's not an issue of they don't know where to find it. The issue is they can't get into a relationship with a woman in order to obtain it. Because the women that they should be in a relationship with, who they would have been in a relationship with 50 years ago, 60, 70, 100, 200 years ago, those women that would be right and fit for them to be in relationships with don't want to be in relationships with them. We've talked about this and we've seen this. All women are going for the same guys. Most women, I shouldn't say all, but most women want the same man. And when you have most women chasing the same guy, there's going to be a lot of guys who don't have options. So it's not that the men don't know where to get the intimacy. They can't obtain the intimacy from the women who, in times past, they would have been able to get it from. So we are in a very dire situation. So that point she said was ridiculous. Then she said, if the men try to look for intimacy, they're labeled as simps. That is also ridiculous. A man looking for intimacy does not make him a simp. That is not what a simp is. I don't know where she got that ridiculous definition for it. She's been on enough podcasts on Pearly Things and other places to know what a simp is. I don't know how she deduced that a man who wants intimacy with a woman is a simp. That's absolutely ridiculous and nonsense. So that's the end of her video. You're not going to get anything else from there. So we are going to break down the reasons why men choose professional women, escorts, over personal relationships, the normal relationship. So let's look at the first reason. One reason is because it's simpler. It is strictly so much simpler for a guy to go to a professional escort versus trying to meet a woman the traditional way. You've seen the video with the Cheesecake Factory girl. You've seen what happened when she was on a date with that guy. You heard him talk about the struggles and the difficulties that he's experienced with dating, and you've seen her behavior and her attitude. This is what a lot of normal guys, the average guy, is facing on the dating market. So when you have two choices of either going through that, all that he went through, all that he's been going through, all that the average man has to go through, whether it's in person, online dating, whatever the case may be, versus going to see a professional, it is just simply a lot simpler. And again, these guys know that going to see a professional is not going to give them the emotional or psychological intimacy that they're looking for. Only thing it's going to do is give them that physical intimacy. And when you don't have any intimacy, physical, emotional, or psychological, then going that route is not a bad ideal. It is not a bad decision in their mindset. So that's one. It's simpler to go to a professional woman. A lot of women play games. We all know that. There was a guy who did the Austin Hollering guy who started this. He didn't start the Passport Bros, but because men have been going to different countries to marry wives for decades, but they kind of made him the poster child of it. He was talking about this, how the girls here play games, the different games that women play here, the inflated egos, the self-centeredness, the selfishness, all this stuff. When you go see a professional, that stuff goes away. No games are being played. He know what he wants, she know what she wants, and they get down to business. The second reason is why guys use escorts versus going a traditional route is because you know the results before you go in. A lot of guys, dating in our society is broken. Most people don't date to marry. Most people date to have a good time. They date to get an experience. And I know that men, when we meet a woman that we like, that we find highly attractive, we are we have a plan put in place where we're trying to do and say all the right things that will lead us to the bedroom. We're just trying to figure out how to not mess it up. So once we meet a girl, we see her, she's attractive, we are now plotting on what we can say, what we can do to lead us to the bedroom and not mess it up before we get there. When a man chooses to go see an escort, there is no plotting, there is no planning. The bricks are out of the briefcase. He already knows going in that the result is going to lead to the bedroom. No games are played, there's no anxiety, all that stuff's gone. Boosh, gone. So that's the second reason. The third reason is, and this ties into the first two, it saves time, energy, and effort. Because when a guy meets a girl traditionally, in order to get to that end goal, which is for most guys the bedroom, it takes time. You have to take them out, go out to dinner, movies, park, whatever it is you're going to do. It takes energy, phone calls, text messages, outings, and it takes effort. I'm speaking in general. This is in general the guy's experience when he's dating a woman. You have some guys who are the outliers, the guys that are extremely handsome, guys make a lot of money, where their time, effort, and energy is a lot less expended versus the normal everyday guy. So we're talking about in general. Normal everyday guy has to expend time, energy, and effort in order to reach his end goal. And there's no guarantee that he gets there. A lot of guys spend time, energy, and effort that is actually wasted. A lot of girls that go out with these guys know that it will never lead to the bedroom. Sometimes they just want to go out and have a good time. Sometimes they just want to have a guy buy them a meal. Sometimes they just want to have a guy show them a night out on the town. They really have no interest in getting that far with the guy. But this is a chance that you take in today's modern dating. You take the chance of expending your energy, expending your effort, expending your time that may not lead to the ultimate goal. So another reason why guys see escorts is because this does not happen. Their time is not wasted. Their energy and effort always brings forth a return, a ROI. The fourth reason is it is an equal exchange. He is getting what he wants. She's getting what she wants. So there's a fair, equal exchange. The fifth reason, and this is going to start getting into the legality of things and the laws in this country. It's cheaper for a man over the long run to see an escort than to get married and start a family. I am not condoning this, guys. This is bad. This is bad for society. This is bad for community. The problem is that things have gotten so bad where seeing an escort for a lot of guys has become a better, safer alternative. What I mean by that is because we know the laws, especially the marriage laws and the family laws in this country, are broken. And because of that, men are actually seeing going the escort route and being a bachelor as a better alternative. This is another reason why the laws in this country needs to change, because with the breakdown of marriage, with the breakdown of family, it leads to the breakdown of community. So I understand why men are doing it. I understand that society and the legal system, especially as it relates to marriage and family court, has contributed to this condition. The men are just adapting. There have always been men that did this, but to the extent that it's being that men are participating in it now, I think is the highest it's ever been. And our society and our legal system propelled this. And this is bad. Let me say it again. It's bad. I'm not condoning it. It's bad. But I understand it. Men are adapting to where we are in society today when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage. The next point, number 6. Professional women provide men with sexual intimacy who are deprived. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but we're going to make this a specific point. We are sexual beings. We are intimate beings. We were created that way. Sex was created to be an activity done within the confines of a marriage. I 100% believe that. I know that most people don't follow that. I myself did not follow that. I was not brought up that way. I wish to God that I was. But we were created to be intimate beings. I've said this in another video. I'm going to say it here in case you've never seen that other video. One of the worst punishments that you can ever give a person that's in prison or incarcerated is to put them in solitary confinement. Why? Because as human beings, we need physical contact. We need to have contact with other human beings. Today, a lot of men do not have intimate relations with women. They are deprived physically, emotionally, psychologically. Professional women provide men who are deprived physically from intimacy. This is a need. Everyone needs physical intimacy. If that was not the case, we would not have the urge. Now, the confines and how it's done, meaning marriage, that's how it's supposed to be acted out. But the climate today, the way society is today, is just not a reality for a lot of men. And we have to start dealing with reality here. And the last and final point is that seeing an escort versus establishing a traditional relationship, it eliminates all the risk that comes with dating and courting women traditionally. What I mean by that, we live in a climate where a woman can say anything against a man and you are guilty before proven innocent. It is not the other way around. You are not innocent and you have to be proven guilty. You are guilty and then you have to prove your innocence. You can lose your job. You can lose your family. You can lose your reputation. You can lose everything off of an accusation that has never even been founded to be true. Seeing an escort eliminates that. That goes away. You don't have to worry about SA. You don't have to worry about grape. There is no alimony through divorce. There is no child support. These are all the risks that a man takes whenever he's trying to court a woman traditionally in today's society. These things go away. So again, it takes a lot of the bricks out of the briefcase that men have to worry about and be conscious about and aware about whenever they are courting women traditionally. And before we get out of here, I want to touch on that point when I was talking about how it's simple and there's no wasted time, energy, and effort. There are a lot of men who are extremely successful, and with success comes a lot of sacrifice, and it comes a lot of your time is limited. Your time is very limited because men that are very successful are doing a lot of different things. They don't have a lot of free time. That is another reason why men participate in escorts, because if you have a man that is successful and he has very little time to contribute to personal endeavors, this would be an outlet for him. Again, listen, I'm not condoning it. Again, ultimately, this is a breakdown of marriage. This is a breakdown of family, but we need to be realistic about where we are in society and why men use these services. And that's what this video is about. Why men use these services. And we need to have some empathy on where we are at in the society, especially when it comes to what men are going through. These are the reasons why men use escorts. These are the reasons why there's such an uptick in men using escorts now. Men are so desperate for intimacy across all three levels: physically, emotionally, psychologically, where this becomes the best option. There was a movie that came out in the 80s. It was called Mask. It was about this boy who had a disease. It was called elephant disease. And it's based on a true story. And the disease, he was disfigured in the face. And and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there are a lot of men that are in that position. And I'm not saying they have that elephant disease, but I mean, as unappealing as that boy was in that movie, there are some men that are just as unappealing to women in real life today. And they don't have an elephant disease, but they have something that just makes them unappealing even to the average woman today, whether it be their tax bracket, whether it be their height, whether it be whatever the case may be. They don't have enough status. They are just as unappealing to the average woman today as that boy was in that movie. So it comes down to, what do you expect these men to do? We already established that men need physical intimacy. All humans do. Humans need emotional intimacy. Humans need psychological intimacy. So knowing that all human beings need this, if you are a man that can date, who is extremely unappealing even to the average woman, and you know that a human being needs all three of these things in order to be healthy, in order to be stable, in order to be quote unquote normal, what do you expect these men to do? What is the alternative? That is an answer that Nadia, the psychologist, can't answer. That is an answer that no woman can answer. And this is the problem. Because the answer to this is the mirror. And that's where women have to look at. I am not excusing men. I think men should put their best foot forward. But as we seen in the Cheesecake Factory video, there was a man. He was average. Nothing wrong with him. A very nice guy. Maybe a little too much of a nice guy. But you're trying to tell me someone like him can't get a date? He admitted himself he has a trouble getting dates. So if he has trouble getting dates, and he don't have an elephant disease, he doesn't have any disfigurement or anything going on, and he's having trouble, you can only imagine what the average guy is going through today when it comes to trying to develop and find intimacy. These are the reasons why men are seeking out escorts, working women, versus going a traditional route. Some of them have no better alternative. That's the truth. Not that they don't know where to find it. Not that they're simps if they're trying to get it. Most of them can't get it. And this is the next best thing. Let me know your comments. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. You can check out this clip if you want to. It's only a minute and 37 seconds. I told you what was in it. There's no meat in it at all. But if you so want to check it out, you definitely can. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this. A lot of people don't talk about this topic. But there are a lot of broken men out there, and they have no better alternative. They don't see a better alternative in their lives on how they can get intimacy on any level. So I wanted to break this down. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.